Hi, I'm back again, this time with this Russian RPG looking rocket that carries a full Duna base, a modular base which can be assembled in several ways and can have additions if need to be. Now, however big this rocket is, actually it's very easy to fly, except that I had to switch the control to that probe core in the center so that it doesn't wobble that much. But this is in fact the most efficient rocket I have because I can go under 3500 meters per second delta V to orbit if I'm careful enough. So let's see what it looks like under the shed. Yes, that's a rover on the side, not too heavy, so that it doesn't keep it off balance. So that was the injection burn, and I cut out everything around it. So this video will be heavily cut because it was more than 6 hours to film this, and yeah, so it was really a lot of material. Basically, this is what I've always done. So it was a launch window, Duna injection. And here I'm fiddling with the maneuver node as usual, so nothing interesting here. Really, so I still kept this, but later on there will be a lot of parts cut out, what I usually don't do. Even this way, this video is very long. So finally I got my equatorial orbit, and I'm closing on Duna for an arrow capture. Final adjustments. And watch out, here we go. So after a little bit of assist of the air capture with the engine, we are successfully captured in an equatorial Duna orbit, and after another pass we are ready to deploy our first unit on the surface, which is the extractor core that will be very useful to us later on in this mission or after this mission for other crews if it's necessary. You know that I always deploy and retract the solar panels for this arrow braking maneuver. And that was the booster stage. Bye bye. As usual, I try to land in one of these smoother, flat, lowland or plain regions on Duna. And this is also useful because I can use landmarks to set the periapsis, in this case the end of the plane or the edge of the plane. And this way I more or less get to the point where I want to. Maybe this was a little bit more to the east than I wanted to, because I wanted to land in this darker, very low region. I also wanted to keep on the equator, so that's why I'm a little bit north of it. Those air brakes are good. And actually, in this version, two engines are not really effective because they hit the exhaust hits two docking ports on the side. It shouldn't have happened, but I didn't test it after moving the engines from a 45-degree position to this one. But this is a successful landing. And this was how Jeb and Bill died, or not. So yeah, that craft is hard to correctly control, especially because of the engines and the off-center center of mass when it moves some load. And there were also some unexpected aerodynamic loads that I didn't encounter previously. So I had to try again. And here we go again. yeah, I forgot to ditch that beam while in flight, so it didn't get destroyed. And yeah, we have to take this tank to the extractor core to fill it with fuel. Also note that there is a small docking port at the bottom side of that ship, so that it helps during landing. Now, I had a problem here with the docking, or we can call it docking. But after that, it was not problematic, so I don't know what happened here. So finally, after filling the tanks, which is a long and boring procedure, I just cut it out. It's full and it's heavy, and I had to take it to the lander or crane, as I call it, and fill the missing fuel. Because it has so much fuel, it didn't take all that was in the tank. So I could go back with a half tank or so. That beam always confuses me during this mission, so I should have ditched it during flight, so it destroys itself on the ground, but it happened like this. So after a while we are back to the extractor core, and we again refill the tank so that we can use it again when the lander comes back, because it comes back. So first Jeb takes it back to the remaining part of the huge shuttle bus or whatever it was, caravan. And we do a pretty standard docking. We just have to be careful with the orientations so that the hatches are on the top so that we can go in. That's important in this case. So the remaining two crew are in one of those hitchhiker containers. And originally I designed this to take it down in 2 steps, but I thought it's easier to do it in 1 step. What I did here, I moved the fuel to the center tank because I had to decrease the thrust of the forward engines to 70% to have a less of center thrust with this new load, and this makes the backward engines run out sooner from those small tanks. So to avoid this and to use all the delta V possible, I moved the fuel to the center tanks. So here's the landing again. Not so perfect that I wanted it, but it was successful. So I landed a little bit more than a kilometer away. I didn't want it like this, but it's not unreasonably far. So yeah, it could have been 500 meters. That would have been better. But yeah, this is how I managed this time. So again, we have to take this huge tank to refill this crane. The problem with this, it turns out that a little bit of fuel was missing from those corner tanks, so I needed to do a second round just for a little bit of fuel, and that was annoying, especially that it caused some problems. So yeah, a little bit unsteady start, but yeah, this thing is heavy. But after that I could go there the first time and dock to the side port. Also, I could use the back port too, but I decided to do it this way, it's easier. So yes, refilling all the tanks. Of course, a little bit was missing. I could have been better with the piloting. So then go back to the extractor core to refill the tank again. That beam, it always confused me during the mission. Docking again, and then some stuff happened, not entirely unproblematic. So let's try that second run again, and this time it was uneventful, or almost. I had a little bit of trouble connecting to the crane because now that it was full of fuel, the docking port was a little bit lower. So while I was trying to figure out what to do, I maybe raised that leg. And then I was switching around and it jumped a little bit and oops, I was docked. So after the tiny bit of fuel refilled, I could take back the tank. Still heavy. Dock again. And refill the remaining small part. So, and now here comes the mission part that I was most afraid of, and that is carrying here crew containers, so these cabins or habs as I call them, because if you look at them, they are on their side, and I have to connect them in an upright position, and at least this is what I wanted. But there are no facilities in the stock game to support this, unless you get creative with landing legs like these. So there are a few action groups on this rover. I call it the assembly rover, so that it can carry these around if need to be. So if I disconnect that part, it will fall down on the legs. And if I move a little bit forward, just careful, then I can close this plateau so that this doesn't fall off. I can carry stuff around this way, even though it's not connected. So yeah, this is nice, but it's still not enough to assemble these parts. And actually, I feared this part, but it was the easiest of all. So when I was near, I just need to dump this uh, the, the legs. And now we have to get it upright. It's not upright now. And it is easier to do it uphill because it doesn't move that much, or at least doesn't want to move that much. So this landing leg configuration, I can push it to an upright position, just carefully. You have to be slow. Sometimes it falls apart, but it is strange because those docking ports can tolerate 20 meters per second, but it seems that they are just very loosely attached to anything, so it falls apart sometimes. But not now, and it is perfect. Luckily, even the docking port is aligned perfectly. I just need to push it there towards the extractor core. But the thing is, as soon as I dock, the gears start to behave strangely. They they don't rotate in a way how they should. Instead, they counter steer each other on both sides. So basically, negate all steering action what I try to do. This doesn't happen on Kerbin. This just happens on Duna. I don't know why it happens. I could understand it if I connected to this hub in another way around. You can see the other docking port on the rover. Then the center of mass would move outside of the wheels, and then it would be understandable that it behaves differently than previously. But this, what it does now, is completely strange. So uh, finally, after some trials, I just came up with the idea that I disconnect and push it against the extractor core. And strangely enough, it went quite well. But I couldn't get completely close because of the legs. I could have raised the legs, but instead I thought of another idea. It just occurred to me at this time that maybe there's another way, and actually I would need that way if this strange steering bug persists. So yeah, what remained is a possibility that to simply hit it with the rover, and if you do it carefully, it will survive. What's better, you can rotate it, position it much easier than otherwise. Of course, I didn't need this at all during my testing on Kerbin because there I could just attach to it and rotate with it and whatever I wanted. But this is strange. So now we are corrected. I recharged the batteries with the huge solar panels because the sun is very low on the horizon. The rover doesn't get much charge. So I had to go back to the other part. So the two guys, well, actually, Bob and Val, so the other one is a girl, are safe now. I just need to get the second part, which is a redundancy or for future growth. The thing is, there is a third part. Uh, why is there? That's the return capsule. I could have used the second one, but I couldn't come up with a reasonable method to put it back again on the crane. So I just simply had to leave one there, and that was my solution. It still could land with these three, so it's not a problem, but extra work. So again, you can see how I work the legs. I need the lower part to keep it off the ground, and you need the back part to close off the plateau that doesn't fall off. And again, going back, I just cut it out because it's completely boring even higher speeds. And I have to repeat what I did previously, so this means that I have to put this down and then use the other configuration of the legs to push this in an upright position. And here I ran into a bit of problem because it was rotated and not so perfect that it was the previous one. So I had to rotate it back. But the steering was not really working correctly, so I couldn't rotate it together with the rover. So the only remaining action was to push it towards the extractor core and the new hub there in a very kind fashion. This would rotate it as needed, and finally just forced it there after a useless try. I simply couldn't steer with the hub on the rover. It should have been possible, but it didn't work. It simply didn't work. So yes, just ram into it. That's what solves problems. More force, and voila, it's docked. So now we have the hub almost completed. I just need to get the jab from there, but it got destroyed. Why? I don't know. So I tried again. So jab. Anyway, there is still one strange moment what I have to do to complete this transformation, and that is to remove this top above the solar cells. That was the probe that landed this thing. Yeah, this is the view. I could have used a 45-degree rotation so that I can see the sun rise and set. This occurred to me just at this moment, because this way you will never be able to see the sun. So I moved this rover a little bit out, so I make place for this landing. Actually, I wanted to land between the rover and the hubs, but it was not successful. Partially because one engine was not running, although because it was hitting the docking port, it didn't matter at all. So yeah, not much fuel in this thing. So it wasn't a perfect landing. I just wanted to land as fast as I can. Of course, solar panels are retracted to protect them against exhaust or hitting them with the small probe. So what's inside? You can see that one engine is not moving, or not working. So this didn't turn out as I wanted to, but nonetheless it was working. I didn't crash this. Technically you could land this back on the top. I don't recommend this. Yeah, the SAS unit is too strong, so it doesn't let it fall to the ground. But after turning it off a few times, it's ready for docking. So now I had to move this back there, but again, as with the hubs, this didn't happen before during testing. It's simply not steerable, or almost not steerable. So the final solution was just to push it with the rover, as it was with the hub. It was working so perfectly during testing, and it happens on Duna. I don't know why. Yeah, here I got confused which direction is which is front and back and left and right. So the seemingly perfect docking didn't turn out as I wanted it to, but I was too close to give up, so I just pushed it sideways until it docked. Yeah, here it is. So with this now, we are not far from finishing the mission. So what's inside this? It's a science package, it's a complete science package. Well, except of a lab, but everything is there. And actually, with the rover, you can take this around and do different measurements at different places. What's more, with the probe, you can take it in the air, so you can measure it above the specific region and on the ground, and then take it back and refill the fuel tanks with the extractor core. So this is quite usable configuration. But left here is a little bit of housekeeping. So finally I got rid of that pesky beam and the remaining stage in orbit, which should have fallen down a long time ago. And you can see that the solar panels are generating power even during midnight hours. Who knows why? So my battery is not draining despite two probe cores. And here is a sunrise, but you cannot see the sun because we are facing in the wrong direction. I realized that I still didn't plant the flag, so yeah, I had to do that also. Yeah, just a little bit of fuel which is missing. And here's the flag. Jeb plants the flag so that it's visible from the inside, and of course it's always oriented in a way that it's not really visible what is on the flag, because you can see it from the edge, but it's visible from the inside also. I planted it that way on purpose. Yeah, there it is. So now we just have to wait until the launch window, although that stage still left in orbit has enough fuel to do it without a launch window. It has 1500 meters per second delta V, so yeah, fixing the parachutes, who knows when they are needed. And I have to get the guys out to the crane, and it's a long way to walk, 1 kilometer. There is some problem with the climb out mechanic. It didn't really want it to climb out, so I don't know why. So with the others I just jump on top because it's simpler. Jump and a little bit of RCS, and you have to do it one by one. Yeah. Guys, so Valentina is doing the pre-flight check in the meantime, you can say so, and we are waiting for the satellite to get into position. So continuing our way up, this will be left in orbit without any crew, and it's not self-driving, no probe core, but it can take down any new crew if needed. So the next mission only needs to bring a similar hab that I can carry down and up again with this crane, and also it is useful for other things. Can carry around stuff if needed to be. Yeah, this is the docking as usual. Have to protect the solar panels because otherwise they would damage. And a little bit clumsy docking, but after a second try and it's there. Come on. Yep, now transfer the crew, I mean jab, to the hab module and leave the good old crane here in orbit for other crews to use. After this is pretty much boring stuff. We have to get back with an injection burn, and of course nothing new in this one. And there's a problem here with the moon. It changes somewhat my course, and I thought, oh well, doesn't matter, I have enough fuel, I will just correct for it later. And this is what I came up with an equatorial orbit. I needed that because I wanted to do a precise space center landing. I could have just crashed into atmosphere. It wouldn't matter. Yeah, probably the solar panels would be destroyed, but it's not so important. But now I had to protect the solar panels. Here is the moon, so I had to correct for that. And yeah, here we go, aero capture. And it became somewhat hot. I had to rotate to the vehicle so that I can protect the solar panels, even in this close position, but otherwise it went quite well. So second one. We're quite happy despite the circumstances, I would say. This is strange, but yeah, if they are happy, then that's fine. So again, aero brake. I have to do this several times, and after that I still need one more, and then circularizing so that I can start my usual run towards the space center from 72 kilometers. However, because of the aerodynamic properties of this capsule, I needed to set the periapsis far more to the east as usual. I don't know why, and it was somewhat too much, but I had a lot of fuel remaining. I was just waiting here for a space center to get to the day side of Kerbin. And finally, here we go. Final approach with some additional engine burns. I wasted a lot of fuel on this one, but I still had a lot of remaining, so it doesn't matter. Parachutes, and that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.